So, what's going on, folks? It's Chi here. Funny thing just happened. I just happened to watch the live broadcast of Donald Trump as he met with the National Association of Black Journalists. Just so happens that I am a journalism major and I was a part of the NABJ when I was in school, only my senior year. So, I went to an HBCU. My senior year, it was time to try and figure out whether or not I was going to get a good internship, right? So I had done some internships prior to that, but this one was like the your main internship, that one that was gonna, turn heads as people looked at your resume. It was gonna be the one that forced people to say take this guy seriously. So that particular internship was with the New York Times. So what the Times required of me or I guess what my professor thought would be a good thing on my resume was being a part of the National Association of Black Journalists. And that is when I decided to join the association. And later I went on to do that internship with the New York Times. Although it wasn't in New York, I did it in New Orleans for the summer. That was 2012. If you look into it, you probably find clips from the newspaper that we put together as students. But it was an interesting time. But, through learning about journalism, I learned about how important it was to not be biased. So one of the main things I do, I know I haven't been on the Considered Culture channel as much, but, on TikTok and other places where when I do post, as randomly as I do, my thing is always holding the media accountable or looking at journalists and thinking that they're doing a terrible job. Well, that brings me to this live Donald Trump fiasco that we just had today, where he was rudely questioned by one of the reporters there, or one of the so-called journalists on the stage there. So I just want to kind of take a look real quick, just get into it and my thoughts on it. And let's take a look.
As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year.
So right from the gate, she's making her introduction here, and she is already showing a bit of her bias. Now, she doesn't look like she's in the best of moods for whatever reason. I have my suspicions as to why that is. I'll mention that in a minute. But as she starts, she speaks about it being a consequential election, as if no election, every election has consequences. Why is she stating that there is this is consequential? Well, I think because she does not like Donald Trump, and she's saying if you vote for him, there will be consequences. It's basically you're only interviewing one person here, and that is Donald Trump. From the onset, we're seeing a bias.
NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media.
They're using PolitiFact. Now, PolitiFact is not a non-biased fact-checking organization. Most people who pay attention know that this is more of a left-leaning organization. So that should be noted as well. Now, the other thing is, why did she even mention a fact-checker in the first place? Well, she's basically trying to, again, lead you in a certain direction. This is what the media does. To a person who's not hyper aware of these things, you don't catch these little nuances. But there are nuances here, and that is one to pay attention to.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today.
Here we go again. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here. Why? Why is this being stated? Why are you saying that a lot of people did not? At what point is there a National Association of Black Journalists? Why would it not be appropriate for him to be in this room full of journalists? It doesn't make sense. That is another leading type of question, but also it's not meant to lead Donald Trump anywhere. It's meant to lead the audience someplace. It's leading the audience to believe that a lot of people don't believe that you're supposed to be here. So, audience, you shouldn't think he's supposed to be here. We're doing him a favor by allowing him to be here, but he's not welcome. You know what I'm saying? So, again, this is not unbiased journalist. She's highly biased, and this is obvious if you're paying attention.
You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner.
Trump is absolutely right. She is asking these questions in a horrible manner. Now, whether he's been, I don't know if he's, there's probably been people who've also asked him things in as horrible of a manner, in my opinion. But, you know, that's how Trump responds. He always tries to make this instance the worst. And this is one of my issues with Trump. He is, as much as I like some of the things that he says, a lot of the times I think he fails and misses opportunities to react in a way that is beneficial to him. And especially in an audience such as this, where you're having probably most of the audience is not on his side. So the thing is, we like Trump because he's strong, but you have to be strong and make smart responses.
First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here.
Here you have one of those moments where Trump is punching back. And see, this is one of my issues with Trump. So, yes, he's doing a great job in terms of fighting back. I think that's absolutely necessary. But sometimes he kind of pushes it when he does things like, say, when he goes in and basically mentions that she was 35 minutes late, and he starts going on about that. That is a little much. I mean, I think it's funny, and it does make for good TV, and I know a lot of people will love it. But there's me. One of the reasons why you don't see me as frequently as you might see other people, or I haven't been around for like years, is because I don't like getting into a lot of the nastiness that has become the political discourse. And my channel is more so about culture than it is about politics. I don't follow politics as much as I like to follow culture and psychology and things of that nature. So I'm not, although I am conservative, I'm not the same kind of conservative that you see from other folks. I'm not Christian. A lot of people might not know that. Two, I'm not like going along with everything just because other conservatives are. I will push back if things don't make sense to me. And for right now, during this situation, I applaud Trump for fighting back. I always love that he fights back, but I just think that he should choose the way he does his battling a little bit better.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
Is Kamala Harris a DEI hire? And will you tell people who say that she is to stop saying it? This is just ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous because we all can recall when Biden got on to the show. What's the radio show? The one where he said, you know, if you ain't black, you ain't black if you voted for me. That same show, if you listen to him, he says he promises that this is before he picked a running mate. He said, I'm looking at lots of black women candidates. I promise you I'm looking for black women candidates. That to me is evidence that she was considered heavily because she was black. He was doing it to try and appease the black voters. I mean, this is ridiculous. We have this stuff on video. Like the fact that people come on and act as if he's wrong for stating that she's a DEI hire when the evidence is clear. We can go back. As a matter of fact, let me play that clip right now.
I'm not acknowledging anybody who is being considered, but I guarantee you there are multiple black women being considered.
Now, I could go on, but I don't really think there's a reason to. The other two interviewers on the stage were a little bit more fair, particularly Harris Faulkner, who we know from Fox News. But this woman was just displaying bias, and I wanted to kind of highlight that because what I've been doing recently other places is just highlighting the media bias because it's so evident to me, and I just don't understand. A lot of my Democrat friends don't seem to see it, but I want to make ways to try and show, like, in a manner that's provable, that people are being biased. And this last clip I'm going to run is of Harris Faulkner, actually. I'm just going to take a clip from her because although she is on Fox News and is of the right, I'm guessing, you'll see that the way that she asked a question, she basically asked the exact same question that the woman in blue asked. I don't know the woman in blue's name, but she asked the exact same question. She just does it in a way that is more professional, doesn't show her biases, and is just trying to get Trump to answer the question. And then we're graced with an answer, which makes it so much easier for us to digest. But when people are being abrasive or they're trying to, ask him questions in a way that is confrontational rather than being a journalist and non-biased, the answers flow a little bit more easily, and we get a true answer rather than Trump trying to punch. And sometimes that can get ugly, and it doesn't bode well for him or what he's trying to do, or what I think he should be trying to do, which is trying to gain more votes from the people in the audience. So hopefully we get more journalists who are going to be more not biased. I mean, you people went to school for journalism. I know that this was in the textbooks because I read those same textbooks, right? So I'll leave you with this.
Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we were divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
So as you can see, it was really kind of cringy here through this thing. If you saw it, you'll know that Trump was really brave to go on stage under these circumstances. I think this is what he should be doing, even though he may have a hostile audience, he may have hostile journalists around him or hostile hosts. I think that he needs to do this. I think he could be better about how he responds to questions. I think the way that Trump responded to them was sometimes dancing around the question, even though I don't think he meant to. Like, I don't think Trump means to dance around questions. I just think he tries to present things in a certain way that makes them great. Everything is great in his opinion, right? Everything is good, and I guess that's his way as a person who is always doing marketing, right? If you're a business person, you're always trying to market and push things in the best light. But I think it does not do him any favors if he does not answer in a way that is detailed and thoughtful. And unfortunately, I think a lot of times he misses opportunities, as he did in portions of this interview. In other portions, he did really well, but I think he missed a couple of opportunities here. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Good to see you people again. All right, take care.